Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer, and today I have with me the TTArtisan 500mm F6.3 manual focus super telephoto lens. Some time ago TTArtisan contacted me and they asked me if I'd like to take this pre-production sample for a spin, and after a short consideration I agreed to give it a try because an affordable, inexpensive 500mm lens sounded intriguing to me. And then the price. Let's get that out of the way. It's $329 which is not too bad even if this is a fully manual lens. I don't think you can find many new 500mm lenses for a similar price. I'm not sure if they are going to change some things for the production version. So bear in mind that everything I'm going to say in this video applies only to this pre-production version. There's one thing I know they are going to change, and that is the markings on the lens. It says 500mm f5.6 here, but like I said, this is 500mm f6.3, not 5.6. They made a mistake with the markings with this pre-production version. This is all metal construction. I can't see any plastic anywhere, and it feels very well put together for such an inexpensive lens. It's also very slim compared to some autofocus lenses because there are no electronics, no autofocus motors or anything to take up space. There is a tripod collar included, which is very nice and useful with this lens. I'll get back to that soon. But I wish they would make the tripod collar leg, this part here, Arca Swiss compatible. I get it, this is an inexpensive lens, but it can't be that much more expensive to make the leg Arca Swiss compatible. Now I have to attach a separate plate here to be able to mount this on my tripod. The tripod collar is pretty much mandatory with this lens because, like I said, it's all manual lens, no electronic communication between the camera and the lens whatsoever. So there's no stabilizer either. So you're gonna need either pretty fast shutter speed or a tripod with this lens. Right now I'm using shutter priority and 1/500 shutter speed to avoid shaky, blurry pictures. My camera, of course, has IBIS, but in-body stabilizer in general is not worth much with long lenses like 500mm or something like that. That's why most long telephoto lenses, or pretty much every modern autofocus telephoto lens, has a built-in optical stabilizer, because the in-body stabilizer simply cannot stabilize a long lens like this. In-body stabilizer is at its best with a little bit shorter focal lengths like 100mm, 50mm or 35 or something like that. One of the biggest challenges with this lens is, you guessed it, focusing. Because it's a non-stabilized lens, you have to be able to hold it very steady to be able to focus. And at least on this pre-production version, the focus ring is super stiff, and I simply cannot focus and not shake the camera at the same time. But I was told that the focus ring will be fixed for the final production version and it should be easier to turn. But make no mistake, this is not an easy lens for any moving subject. Unless you'd like to take that as a challenge, if you think that modern autofocus cameras, autofocus lenses and subject tracking make everything way too easy. If you can get a tack-sharp flying bird picture on this lens, then the satisfaction level or the gratification will be much greater than with any autofocus lens camera combo. The minimum focusing distance is 3.3 meters, which is actually quite good for a 500mm lens. Also, the physical length of the lens does not change when you focus. There is no lens shade included, at least with this pre-production version. I hope they include one with the production version. The lens cap is metal and it's held in place by friction. It seems to stay put pretty well. Before I go into the image quality, I want to mention something I forgot when I was outside. The aperture ring is smooth, no clicks, but I wish it had clicks because then I could figure out my shooting aperture by counting the clicks. Now the only way to see my aperture is to look at the ring, which sometimes is a little bit awkward because the ring is quite far front in the lens. And I can't see the aperture in the camera because there is no electronic communication between the camera and the lens. When it comes to sharpness, this lens is quite decent already wide open if you nail the focus. The best sharpness comes at around f11, and then there is nothing much to complain. The picture is very crisp and sharp across the frame from corner to corner. I can't see any distortions, and I also can't see much chromatic aberrations. The vignetting on this pre-production version seems to be slightly asymmetrical. It seems to be darker on the left side of the picture, but I'm sure that'll be sorted out for the final production version. But all in all, I would say the optical performance of the image quality is not bad at all, as long as you manage to nail the focus. That is the key. It's very easy to miss the focus just by a little bit, and then it's not tack sharp anymore. The depth of field is incredibly shallow, even if the maximum aperture is only f6.3. I'm not exactly sure how to recommend this lens, but I guess this would be an easy or inexpensive way to buy a 500mm lens and see how you like that angle of view and if it works for you. However, if you intend to shoot anything that moves, I would recommend an autofocus lens. There are some tricks that you can use with a manual focus lens. For example, if you know where your moving subject is going to go, you can pre-focus and try to nail the picture or the focus when your subject is coming into the focus area. But if you intend to shoot even occasionally moving things or maybe flying birds or something like that, I would definitely recommend an autofocus lens. It's so much more convenient these days. But for example, for landscapes, this TTArtisan 500mm F6.3 might be a nice choice, especially if you don't need this focal length very often. It would be an inexpensive way to get a 500mm lens, and it would offer some nice compressed perspectives for your landscape photography. And those landscapes are not going anywhere. It would be easy to put this on a tripod and focus on the whatever mountains or horizon, whatever you are shooting. This is all I have for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed this little overview of the TTArtisan 500mm F6.3 manual focus full frame lens. If you found this video useful or helpful, please do consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below for that if you don't live in Finland. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll definitely see you in the next video.